Hey folks, me again. As you can see, it's another beautiful morning here in Northeast PA. And believe it or not, I'm almost back into walking uniform. Got my sweat towel here. I'm wearing my almost summer but not quite pants. When I break out the shorts, it will officially be walking weather. Today's walk is going to be pretty long, probably about 11, maybe 12 kilometers. I've already covered about 3 or 4. But a lot of people ask me what I do on these walks. Well, I don't really do much of anything that's obvious. But what I'm doing as far as work goes is a lot of coding, computer programming. And right now, the big thing for my business is I'm coding computational tools. And believe it or not, the math for that is fairly easy. But the flow as to how you actually do that in an application that's published online, that's the complicated part. That's the part where you often just sit in front of the computer screen and try to figure out how to do what you need to do. You know what the code is, you know what the code has to do, you know all the math involved, but the hard part is getting it to work in a pattern, getting all the data together in a pattern so the application can actually do the computations. Do you get the variables from the database? Do you get them from the user? All these questions have to be answered, and then you have to write the code to actually get it on screen and have it work. So that's what I think about while I'm walking. The flow doesn't require any kind of computer. It probably would work better if I had a pencil and paper, but I actually am pretty good at just thinking about how the flow should go, and then when I get back to my so-called office, I just start writing the code based on what I came up with while I'm walking. So as you can see, I'm working very hard. Even when I'm out sort of wandering around town, taking aimless walks around northeastern PA, I'm still hard at work. I'm also predicting that I'm just days away from getting the bike out from the garage. I'm going to dust it off, lube it up, make sure everything works, and then probably most of my fitness activities from then on will be on the bike, at least throughout the summer. I don't mind walking, but if I have the bike, it gives me more range and it's more fun, I think, than walking. Plus, I like climbing hills on the bike. I don't like climbing hills while I'm walking. So the bike will give me that opportunity once I get it out. It hasn't been used at all since I think October, so it might take a little bit of maintenance before it's actually up and running. But pretty soon, maybe by the next video, I'll be on the bike. I have to update the software on the bike computer, figure out how to connect the camera to the bike again. I had a way back last summer, and I have to make sure that the connection still works and everything like that. So hopefully there'll be a little bit more video from the bike this year. Speaking of bikes, I saw an ad on Facebook a few days ago for Specialized bikes. If you're not familiar with bikes, Specialized is a bicycle company. So I clicked on it and I was toying with the idea of buying another bike. But when I saw the prices for the Specialized bikes that they have coming out this year, I decided that the old bike that I've got right now is perfectly okay. So if you're planning on getting a bike this year, you need to be prepared to spend a lot of money for a good bike. Last year I made a video that you can find by clicking up there about used bike versus new bike. And last summer, of course, there was a bicycle shortage. You really couldn't buy a new bike unless you wanted to pay a lot of money for it. So I suggested in the video that you should just get out your old bike, fix it up, All you usually need are a few different kinds of parts, mostly tires and brakes, and use that, because bicycles, unless you break them or somehow wreck them, they're not gonna be unusable, let's put it that way. No bikes are nice, but at the present price that you're gonna have to pay for a brand new bike, I'm gonna go out on a limb and simply say they're not worth it. Get your old bike. If you're just looking for exercise, get your old bike, fix it up, and hit the road. That's all you need. You just need something that will pedal and will go forward when you want it to and stop when you want to. So that's what I'm doing. I'm going to get my niece's old bike she had when she was 11 years old, dust it off, fix it up a little bit, and use that this summer. The only thing I think it's going to need this year, doesn't need them right now because I just bought tires last year. Depending on how much I ride it, it might need new tires towards the end of the year. That's about it. If you're entering the Tour de France or something like that, yeah, okay, you might need a different kind of bike. But if you're just a regular person looking to use cycling for fitness, you don't need to pay several $1,000s for a bike. Nearly lost my sweat towel. You don't need to pay several $1,000s for a bike that you're only going to use for fitness. I'm leaving the Lackawanna River Heritage Trail now, and I'm going to be taking regular roads to complete my walk. Some of this crossover, if you're on the Heritage Trail a lot, then you're used to seeing this crossover between that near the Carbondale Trailhead and what's called locally the Industrial or Enterprise Drive, I think it's called. It's a good surface for a little bit, and then you have something where it looks like you're walking across a boulder field. You really have to pay attention when you get here, because one wrong move and you're doomed. Here's a tip, and I see people doing this a lot, walking on the wrong side of the road. I know that people like to think that because I drive on the right side of the road that I should walk on the right side of the road. Walking is always done on the opposite side that traffic travels on. So in the United States, let's put it this way, in North America, if you're walking on the road, you should be on the left side facing traffic. If you're in a car, you ride on the right. If you're on a bike, you ride on the right with traffic. But if you're walking, it's just the opposite. Somebody will going to say now, well, why is that, Bill? It's a very simple reason. You can see traffic coming towards you. If you're walking with traffic, it approaches you from behind, and you don't know if the car sees you or not. If you're walking facing the traffic, you can sort of judge whether or not they're going to run you over. So that's an important safety tip from the International Bigshot. Walk on the opposite side of the road facing oncoming traffic. Many scenic things to see on a walk like this. Behind me you can probably see the local gas transfer station or gas pumping station. Anybody that lives in Pennsylvania knows that we're a major natural gas producer. And I'm coming up on a major intersection in town right now, the Fallbrook Street and Dundas Street intersection. Right in front of me is Dundas Street. And you might remember in a video that I made last summer about my climb up to the top of Dundas Street. You can click on it at the top of the screen. But it's a 4.2 kilometer climb, approximately 250 meters gain in elevation. I'm over on Scott Street now in Carbondale. I think it's called Scott Street, I'm not really sure. But this is over on the western side of the town. Last time I made a video over here, it was minus 18 degrees. And I think I was talking about wallets. I usually don't record over on this side of town because this is a wide open area and it's usually windy. Even in the best weather, it's usually windy. For some reason today, it doesn't seem to have any wind at all, so the recording should be pretty good. Also, I'm using my microphone and audio recorder. This thing here, I think I showed you in another video. This is the audio recorder. And I just sync up the audio from that with the video from the camera. Today it's the Sony Action Cam. And this is the microphone right here. So we should have some pretty good audio, at least from this video. Okay, we're at the point now where we could either head back to the house by heading in that direction, or we can continue on and head in this direction over near the Carbondale High School. That's the way we're going. When we get there, we're going to continue south to the Cottage Ambulance Company. Normally this is where I head back to the house, and the walk is about 6 to 8 kilometers. I really don't remember how long these walks are. I don't know why, because I measure them every day, but I don't always follow the same route. But when I combine both routes, I call it the northern route and the southern route, it ends up being just a little bit over 11 kilometers if all I do is walk. If I'm wandering around trying to take pictures of something, then it ends up being a little bit longer, but generally speaking, it's an 11-kilometer walk. I just entered the campus of the Carbondale Area High School. This is also a popular place for people to walk. I think if you walk around both the high school and the elementary school, it's a total of about 500 meters. So it might actually be a little bit longer than that. But in the evening after work, there's a lot of people that take advantage of this. It's quiet. There's zero traffic. And it's a good service. It's a paved surface all around the school. And it's easy to get to. You park your car, get out, and you can walk as much as you want around the schools. And as you can see, it's got some nice landscaping too up there. I think is a tennis court or basketball court. And over here, can't see it too well on this wide angle lens, but that yellow fencing is the football field, baseball field, or maybe it's just the baseball field. I think the football field is farther over this way. But it's a great place to walk. It's a nice place to hang around. I often ride my bike here a little bit on my way to one place or another. So we're at the Carbondale Area High School. I have reached the Cottage Hose Ambulance Company. This is as far south as I'm going to go. This is usually as far south as I ever go if I'm walking. I'm going to turn around now and head back into town and go home and get ready for lunch. Then this afternoon I'm going to get to work on everything else that I have to do during the day. Hey, we crossed the Lackawanna River again. It's hard to go anywhere in town without crossing the river at some point. Probably in my walks, I usually cross it several times. We're now on what's called Pike Street, and that will take us to Main Street in Carbondale, and then back to my house. I think it's all going to be about 3 kilometers from where I am now. Certainly not more than 4. All right, we are back in downtown Carbondale, so I think I'm just going to wrap it up here. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.